Okay, so welcome, friends, spirit dancers, to Auntie Bear just joined us, to our Spirit Dancer Foundations for Flight module number 3.
Yay.
And we're excited to continue this exploration of foundations for our spirit dancing. And Eric is also now joining us. And welcome everybody. So for tonight's class, there's a few little sort of housekeeping check-ins. A lot of this, we're going to actually make time for the actual, everybody gets a chance to check in towards the end. We're actually hoping to give folks a little bit of a longer check-in because I feel like it's been a little bit squished with the 3-minute thing. And I want y'all to have more time. So we're gonna do a little bit less of the didactic kind of teaching and a little bit more sharing time generally for these is what I'm feeling. And I'd love to hear if I'm tuning in correctly. Like, are you wishing that there was a little bit more time to share? And if that's a yes for you, maybe you could just put your thumb up. Okay, there's one thumb, there's two thumbs, there's three thumbs. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to build that in. And another question I wanted to check in about is, we did a sort of a pretty brief introduction to body and pendulum dowsing 2 weeks ago. And I know there's a variety of levels of interest, perhaps, but definitely of experience with those forms of divination. And so it was raised whether there would be more training in that or more practice in that. And so that's another question I have. If you would like more like in person, for example, during our dark moon circle, a little bit more time to practice either body and or pendulum divination as a group, put your thumb up. Okay. Cool. Good to know. All right. Um, yeah, and here comes the rain. Okay. I also just wanted to check in about these Google Calendar invites that I'm sending out. I've been getting consistent responses from a couple of you, and so but not most of you, so I wanted to find out whether everybody's getting those okay. It's just like a Google Calendar invite that comes in, and it went out. Those I sent last night for both tonight and for our dark moon circle. They give you an option of accepting yes, no, or maybe to your attendance, your expected attendance. Is there anybody who's not getting those invites? Okay. So I just a little gentle nudge that if you can please, even if you're not 100% sure if you're going to be there, you can hit maybe, but it's helpful for Annette and I to know just a sense of numbers of who's coming. And so if you hit accept, yes, that means that we can count on you, or at least mostly we think we're going to be here unless something changes. Things change for all of us, but yeah, it just is really helpful for us to know ahead of time, like who's coming and who's not coming. So that's just a little reminder. Yeah, Eric.
So I got two emails from you.
Uh-huh.
One is Spirit Dancer and one is for the Dark Moon.
Yep.
I got join with Google Meet and then some mobile numbers and then the calendar. Mark, put these down on your calendars, join the Zoom meeting. I don't get, are you going to attend or you're not going to attend? I did not get that.
Huh. So there's not like a little accept or okay, so it's on your phone. Yeah, I can't read
I
that.
can't see it. But no, there's no accept or not accept. I just got
Huh.
I got two emails from you. Invitation, Spirit Dancer, Dark,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Would it be
Invitation,
helpful if
Spirit
I show
Dancer,
you?
Foundation Module 3.
Would it be helpful if I show you what it looks like on my screen?
Well, I know what it looks like. I've had invitations
No,
before. I didn't
like
get an
it says
invitation. I got a
so it says invitation, Spirit Dancer, Dark Moon Circle. Is that what you're looking at?
yes. That's what I'm
Okay.
looking at, but I did not
So
get a
that's
attend. Are you going to attend?
the Google. So at the top of it, there should be something that says, it's like a gray box,
Yes. It
and
says
and
add
it
that
says
to my calendar. It
yes.
says, do you want to add that to my calendar?
And then once you add it to your calendar, it gives you an option of yes. Well, it also gives you an option on there for
Okay,
yes.
accept, maybe decline. Okay, I got that. I
Yay.
had to do a step because I
Yeah.
don't want to add it to my calendar. I really don't want to add it to my calendar because I have it on my paper calendar and I don't want to add it to my phone calendar. So
Yeah.
that's why I didn't click on that. But it's not real clear. Yes, no, maybe. Are you going to attend?
Huh.
It does give it says yes, no, or maybe.
It does, but I have to click on that box that says add this to my calendar, and I did not want to add it to my calendar, so I did not click on the box. So then
Oh,
after I click on the box, then it comes up as yes, no, maybe. So in the future, I'll just click on the box, you guys. I got it.
oh.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah.
Thanks, Annette.
Glad we
Thanks
figured
for helping me out. Got that figured out. The electronics, man. I'm telling you,
I know. Like
I just pass.
I've never
Yeah.
Pass.
even known how to do these invites until Annette taught me how to do it. So, I'm definitely on the learning curve with y'all. Um,
All right.
Yeah. Super
yeah.
helpful.
Um, do, 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 do. Yeah, so we're gonna just check in at the end. I'd love to hear more about how it's going for you, and if there's anything else that needs to be spoken about, what we've talked about in the past, or about what we're going to be talking about tonight. And so our topic of the evening is really going into the lore, the history, the details, and the magic of amulets, talismans, and charms. And there is lots of juicy stuff to explore here. And so we'll just sort of share with you some of that history and some of the context around it and some of the differences between their uses and how they're made and how we can apply some of these ancient practices and modern practices to our own work. So without further ado, yes, so three terms that are a little bit different, but often used interchangeably and can be confusing for people: amulet, talisman, and charm. And so amulet, and there's a easy way to remember this, which is, and I think I might have said this during our initial weekend, amulet starts with an A, and so does the word away. So amulet is something that is held or worn, and it's very much about protection, keeping things away. Talisman, toward. So away and toward. Amulet, talisman. So that's your little memory device, which has always stuck in my little noggin. Talisman is something that we use to bring something closer to us, to become magnetic and pull things toward us that we want to be in relationship with. Charms are used usually more connected with amulet, but I have seen it both ways. But we're working mostly with amulet and talisman, and mostly with talisman, really, when we come right down to it. But I wanted to share a little bit about amulets because they're also fascinating and they're important in magical work. So as I said, amulet is mostly about keeping harm away and about sort of anything that is considered evil, and these are words that are used in for a long time now. The word amulet actually comes from the word amuletum, which is a Roman word that literally means evil averting. And so it's all about averting evil, and it's also connected with this cool word called apotropaic, and that means, it's a Greek word that literally means also averting evil. So it's an apotropaic shield, also known as a deflector. So literally, like, things hit it and they sort of deflect back off. They can't come any further toward us. And so amulets are all about protection, and many of us are familiar with this. And I know Annette and I both wear amulets regularly.
Yes,
And
I
maybe
have
you do
several.
too. There are often things that we wear on our bodies to protect us. This one I'm wearing is a shungite pendant. And this is a powerful stone that is used for protection from all forms of radiation. So for anybody who feels, I mean, even if you don't feel it, we're surrounded in a radiation soup all the time with like EMFs and cell radiation and all of the, it's known in some circles as technopathic stress. So we are constantly in a field of technopathic stress. And for those of us who really want to have a little extra support around that, there are various tools and substances that can be supportive for us. And this is one of them. It's a very ancient form of carbon that is mostly, it comes mostly from Russia. And it has these
Oh, if
really
only.
cool crystalline structures that are fullerenes. They're called fullerenes. And it's the same structure that inspired the shape of the geodesic dome. If you know what a geodesic dome looks like, that is shaped based on this atomic structure called the fullerene. And named after a person named Buckminster Fuller, who of course wanted to name it after himself when he discovered it. Yeah. So anyway, so this is a beautiful stone. It's just black, and it's yeah, a powerful one that you can work with. You can also put it in your water bottle. It can actually help to create some of those same qualities through water in your body. Did you want to mention anything more about that? I know you've worked with this a lot, Annette.
Yeah. I mean, the way that it works is actually it works with carbon molecules. So it's in that atomic structure, and it's actually 60 or more carbon molecules that are placed together. And so what ends up happening is when it gets introduced to impurities, especially like in the water, because the way that they discovered it was they found that this one river in Russia, the water was helping people. There's like physical health benefits. And of course, back then they were like, oh, the water of youth. And then they started doing all this research, mostly in the 70s and 80s in Russia. And they discovered that it is these bullets that are 60 or more carbon molecules that look like a soccer ball. And so when water or any impurities like heavy metals come through it, the specific combination, what it does is it magnetizes them or kind of glues them to it. So it removes heavy metals. So like shungite water, for instance, is really great for free radicals in the body, right? It's really great for people that are going through cancer. Um, it helps to purify if you have heavy metals in your water. It helps purify those. And then when it comes to helping with the electromagnetic field around your body, right, and protection from EFs, it's actually the best. So they did comparisons with black tourmaline, and they did comparisons with shungite. And they found that shungite actually had a 2 foot more radius around your energetic field than black tourmaline, which black tourmaline is wonderful. It works really well as a talisman, but it works differently, right? It's more of, it doesn't actually absorb. They say that it repels, but what it actually does is it vacuums negative energy. So it has a hexagon compared to like the shungite has a hexagonal structure, which just means that it helps to transmute energy. So you have lower density or negative energy that comes like magnetizes towards you, and then it kind of like a vacuum sucks it in, and then you can actually, with intention, reuse that energy for your own energetic field. Because it's purified through that. Now, shungite just kind of, it kind of like, it's just like the 60 or more molecules, right? It kind of like when it comes in, it works like a ferritin net, ferritin, is it ferritin? Ferritin net, which is basically it's not an actual net, but it helps with like psychic energies. The government literally uses it. Like you go
It's
into a
Faraday. Yeah, it's
Thank you,
Faraday. Yeah, yeah,
Faraday. Yes, yes.
Faraday. Yes.
And so it's, yeah. So back to shungite. It's amazing. Putting it in water. There's two different kinds. There's noble shungite, which is 90 to 95%, or no, sorry, 95 to 100% carbon based. And then there's common shungite, which is 90 to 95. The difference is that you only need 16 grams of noble shungite to cleanse 32 ounces of water versus 100 grams of common to do the same thing. It's cheaper to do it the other way, but it's very protective. Fern has it near her heart, right? So like that also helps the field of the heart, which is also a very large energetic field.
Mhm.
But to then bounce off of that, I also keep ones close to my heart. So I've worn these probably for 15 years at this point. Like I don't know why, I just keep them on my person. I've changed the necklace that they're on, but not the stones. So I'm definitely a love of labradorite. It's really helped me energetically, and this one is golden rutilated quartz. So they have similar qualities, but a little bit different. And then to like go a little bit away from, amulets like that are stone or crystal, I also work with sacred geometry. So this one here is the flower of life. So this is a specific geometric configuration of circles that are then encased in a circle. When it actually is opened, it forms a pattern that is similar structures to our DNA. So for me, it helps to like keep my energetic field cleansed, um, which the other stones also do. And then I also have an assortment of other bits that are fairly new to me that are more like charms, which are talismans, but like, a lot of people will talk about charms. And I feel like charms have similar vibes. Someone gifts you something, right? And you're like, whoa, like thank you. And it feels so good. And then you put it on you and you can feel how different it feels,
Mhm.
right? Like on your physical self. To me, that's something that's been anointed, or something that's been infused with other, someone else's energy. Like they're like, I love you so much, I'm gifting you this, right? And then because they've infused their love with this and then gifted it to you, then you're feeling and radiating that specific energy, because metals, crystals hold vibration. Where our thoughts go, energy flows. So it's all about activation, of those things, I feel.
Yeah, so amulets are like powerful tools and allies to help us with keeping ourselves clear. And so they can push back on negative energies and influences of many different kinds. They can even be used for pushing back against various kinds of illness, misfortune, dark influences. They are used across cultures. In Egypt, the Eye of Horus is one really famous one that is used for healing and regeneration, as well as preventing illness and injury. There's the Hamsa hand. You've probably seen it. It's really a common one that you might see on like modern versions of charms, which guards against the evil eye. There's, of course, the Christian cross, which is also a form of amulet, because those who walk that path feel like it's a spiritual defense, warding off of evil. And then I wanted to mention that the talisman for your guardian is also, even though it is a talisman, it is also an amulet, because that is your guardian. And so you can consider that also a protective device, that if you're feeling like you want your guardian close to you because for some reason you're feeling a little extra vulnerable, bring it, hold it, wear it, like wrap it in put it in your pocket, put it on you for whatever amount of time you need that extra support to help you connect with the power of that guardian. We're going to talk more about some different ways to work with these things, but I wanted to mention that because that specific talisman in your bundle can be used really strongly as an amulet because of the nature of your guardian.
Like a direct link.
Direct link, absolutely. Yeah. So these power objects, they are for like at least 40,000 years, people have worked with objects. The first one that they found was a bear tooth in a cave in Siberia that was clearly worn and used, not just like fallen off of the skeleton of a bear, like it was worked with by the people. And we have always had this draw to understand this connection to like having objects that have meaning, that are infused with meaning, either by our own intention or by how they came to us, like a gift or, an omen or an auspicious finding of something that feels like it's really important and brings some kind of quality that we want into our life, or holds something away that we don't want. They can be used for bringing in wisdom and understanding. And these are some of the things we're going to be working with ourselves. They can be used for things like building your reproductive power, if that's something you're interested in, or in just regeneration, like the fertile, vital force of life, joy, prosperity, spiritual and material well-being, abundance. So yeah, so many things that we can call in through these different symbols and objects that are infused with energy and power. And so shifting now into the talisman. So if the amulet is kind of like the warding off, the deflector, the shield, the talisman is more like a magnet. And so it's really like calling the things in, and we work with them to attract good luck, to attract specific energies and connections, to aid in making our desires and goals happen. And talismans are usually crafted with real intention, or received, in this case, received through intent to find and work with something specific. Another thing that's really connected with all of these, actually, the amulet, the talisman, and the charm, are symbols, also known as glyphs or runes in the Druid tradition, oghams. These symbols can also bring another layer and a level of meaning and magic to the item itself. And so these can be also tapping us into this long stream of influence, of lineage, and of sometimes mythology, sometimes specific deities will come through with these symbols. And so that's a whole other level that can happen. And that's something just to consider too, as you're working to build your bundle, that perhaps one of these allies is going to show you a symbol, and that's something that you could even burn or carve into, like a piece of wood or stone. I have a tool, like I have a wood burner, but I also have one that's like a little Dremel that can like create pretty fine lines. And that's something that I just wanted to mention, like building in not only the energy, but symbology into something can add this extra layer, especially if you are doing the burning or the carving in that state of connection. Like you're really like you become the bridge, building that into the symbol. So that's something to consider. And these, because we're working in this way with allies, like I would really be tuning into them and asking if there's some image that shows up, and maybe there already are images that are showing up for you that could be interpreted in symbolic language. Might be a really nice way to bring some craftiness, some art into your talisman. So as I mentioned, these go way back, at least 40,000 years. And there's just always been this desire for us as humans to believe in something that like is with us, to feel like we have the support, the protection, the connection, of unseen forces, of fate, of the divine influence in our lives, to know that we're not alone, to know that we have support. And so it's something that, even though in many ways has become a little bit less common in our modern culture, it still shows up. It still shows up in subtle and not so subtle ways. And yeah. So talismans are also really amazing tools for divination. And that's one of the ways we're going to be working with our bundles and the individual ones within our bundles. So divination is, we've been working with dowsing, right, with the pendulum and with our body. And divination is any form or any practice that helps us to gain access to knowledge, to insight, to wisdom, to prophecy. So divination can be used with cards, can be used with body, with pendulum, with various kinds of tools. And talismans are another way that we can work forms of divination. And so, as I already mentioned, like runes and oghams are a form that those take in the Norse and Celtic traditions. There are also like astrological talismans that can be formed and connected to astrological alignments in time and then sort of hold that in their energetic imprint. There's scrying tools so that we can sort of access our inner sight and be able to use the power of our inner sight, our vision, to see something. Yeah, and I actually just framed an image of out of the tarot, one of the major arcana, who is known as Temperance. And this in my life and in my home is now a sort of a form of a tarot talisman. So it's really a way of bringing in the power of this and the all of the meaning associated with this particular card and the being, the image that is there, bringing that more strongly into my life because I get to see it now because it's framed and it's in a place where I'm going to look at it. So that's another way we can build in connection and meaning to what it is we're wanting to pull toward us. I'm going to pause there because that was a bunch of words. See if anybody has any questions or additional comments. Okay. Very good. Yeah, so we're gonna learn about how to work with these as a way, like as we learn about each of these beings.
I do have a question.
Yeah, hold that just a sec. Let me
Sorry.
finish my thought.
Sure.
As we like really get like a felt sense and a relationship built with each of these beings and with their associated object, right? So these talismans start to become very much alive. And we can start to work with them through divination, using them for divination. And there's a variety of ways that we can do that. We can have them available to us when we're working with another divination system to help us to ground and feel connected and have that presence with us so that we are opening ourselves to the wisdom of that being that comes through. They can also help us to amplify our own ability to see our intuition by like really just tapping in through the object, but to beyond that object, right? So it's like it's holding an energy that connects us to something greater. So it helps us to clear our mind and to open our connection psychically.
It's like a key or a phone number to another dimensional space that you're connecting to. So if like you're connecting with your Gigi, right? Like you have already done work to bring that vibration into your space. Now you have a physical representation in 3D space, right? In this physical form, so that you are already associating that not only in your brain, but also in the way that your body is feeling with it. So when you bring it forward or you work with it, you invoke that specific, phone number. You're like dialing it in, and then through the interweavings of the matrix, the web of connection, it goes and then finds that specific frequency in space and time when you initially connected to that specific energy or entity or whatever your talisman represents.
Yeah, and the actual material, we're going to get into some of the different materials that these can be made from.
Yeah.
The form holds memory, And so, working with these things over time, it's like, the stones in the circle here, they hold so much now because they have held space for so much ceremony and dance. And, there's just this sense that they already know what they're doing. They don't need any new instructions. They've got it going on. You know what I mean? And so, like, working over time with your magical tools and consistently, um, with this kind of intention is going to build their strength for you. Um, and yeah, so they, some of the oldest tools for talismans and amulets include animal bone, shell, clay, and wood, right? Just like, and stone, the things that are most easily accessible to folks who are like living really close to the land, that we can just like find these things or like build from them, make with them.
Natural materials.
Natural materials, yeah. And then of course there's like specific types of stones, as Annette has started to get into, that have specific kinds of energy, yeah, that are really supportive. Also cultural connections, because each of these stones has a culture, and also, different kinds of other materials, even metals like copper, and even like wax from specific candles that were like blessed by the Pope, or pigments that are used, like red colors also come with a lot of power and energy and association in various traditions and in our own felt sense of our relationship to those colors. So yeah, there's lots that can be explored there. And I personally really love being able to find things that were grown or expressed, created through the local landscape, whenever possible. And so, like I do have one here from Ecuador. That's not very local, but everybody else is very, very much local. And so, it's probably going to be a blend for all of us. Yeah, and this thing about the charm really became more popular. It's an interesting little story in the 19th century as industrialization like allowed for more different kinds of artisanship, for mass production to sort of come into the mainstream, and cheaper materials and plastics and things like that became easy to access, making them more widely available. There's pros and cons to this, obviously, right? And Queen Victoria was actually the one who popularized the charm bracelet. She started wearing one, and then of course everybody wanted to follow her. And so that whole thing about charm bracelets, I mean, I grew up with charm bracelets. It was like a thing, and they still are there. Like our little jewel bead shop in Montpelier has, a whole section of charms that for the people who are excited about that. And it's like, it's kind of lost a lot of its, original spiritual connection there, but like there's still a little bit of subtle sort of crossover of some traditional symbols that get woven in there, and the meaning that gets to be woven in too by people trading them with each other, and getting to understand a little bit more of who they are, maybe through the charms that they are drawn to. But then, it's like fashion, and it's just, working with some materials that you don't necessarily have a strong connection with, but it's something. It's still meeting some piece of that deeper need, I think.
Yeah, people used to ask all the time about like the materials that the deities that we had at Spirit, the gift shop, was made of. And they were like, well, if all of these things are cast resin, like, do they still have potency? And I was like, yes, because because people believe in them, right? Like beyond a physical representation of a baby, I call it baby Ganesh, like of a little Ganeshi, right? It's the vibration of people praying to this or sharing their energy with the specific symbol, right? Which we all, when we see it, we're like, oh, an elephant, Hindu god Ganesh, right? Or even a cross, right? Like we all can be like, oh, when we see that, we at least have a general understanding of what it represents. And so even if it's made out of, super cheap plastic that's been pressed, like does it still have vibrational resonance for sure, because it's not just a physical thing. Now, if you made it into copper or sterling silver or gold, those materials specifically hold resonance of energy frequencies better than, say, like plastic, but it's still that felt sense of that connection to that specific representation,
Mhm.
like of that symbol or animal or whatever it is. At least that's how I explained it.
Yeah, I think so much of it is about our associations, our felt sense of meaning and connection that we then sort of project onto the item. And then the item, we're projecting its actual energy, we're projecting onto it.
Yeah.
And so that's real. Like we do that. We do that consciously and we do that unconsciously all the time.
Yeah, everything that's in your, in your bundle, like you have thought through, even if, and I'm not saying like, even if it was like just in the moment that you found it or thought of, and you haven't worked with it since then, right? Like it's still there. It still has a vibration. And then every single time you dance with it, and every single energy, like flowing vibration off of you, like also gets infused in that, and that's why you're asked to continue to wear them, because like it's an evolution every time you dance.
Yeah.
Like yes, you're dancing for or with plant, or yes, you're dancing with, guardian, or the next one is creature, like, but it's all communicating, and all that energy, even the fabric, right? The specific fabric that everybody has. Like, cotton holds energy really well. Any natural fibers, cotton, linen, which is cotton, but like anything, silk. Yeah. I mean, I just love thinking about it, right? Because that means that everything that I wear has my energetic vibration on it. So like, why do certain things feel sometimes better than others? Well, sometimes it's one, I first wore it, or I wear it all the time, so it feels like me, if
Mm,
that makes sense. Even if I, not even conceptualizing it, just like, oh wow, this feels natural, normal. Or maybe you're drawn to like a certain piece of tree from, wood, or a certain bone from an animal, or I don't know, insert thing here, like your thing. Like to really just think about that, like think about everything that you have around you, and everything that you place on you, especially with intention, has power, has that a vibration that hopefully helps you or aids you.
yeah. Yeah. So we have this deep desire. We have this deep desire to have these physical objects close to us. Oh,
Yeah.
and I say this, we as like the species over time, this has been a consistent thing that we have done. And
Yeah.
this drive to like have something that helps to protect us, that can influence in a good way, that can connect us. It continues to evolve, but it never goes away. It's always there on some level in every culture. And
Yeah.
so it's something that's just like, it's part of who we are as people, that we have these desires and these things that we carry, and graves that have been excavated, thousands of years old, they're buried with special things,
Yeah.
that these objects that mean something, that like say something about who this human is. And
Yeah.
that's part of what we're doing here, is like this is our connection to others, but this is also about who we are. Like each of these relationships further defines who I am as a human, as a spirit dancer. I become more of myself by being in relationship with these beings. And so like, yeah, my talisman bundle, maybe it's going to be buried with me. I think that's actually a very nice thought. Um and it
Becomes part
will,
of the tree.
yeah, absolutely. It will be representing and holding space, in the earth and in spirit beyond all of this. So, shifting into a little bit more specifically about us as spirit dancers working with our talismans, and we've been weaving this in, but I want to talk more specifically about why we do it this way and what it means and what the opportunity here is for us. So we have these physical anchors, right? And each of them is a doorway. Each of them is a doorway to an ally of a particular queendom or realm. And each one will represent a lunar cycle in our 8-month journey. And, beyond that, they are here for us, right? Like it's not just this 8-month journey. This is the beginning or sometimes the continuation of perhaps lifelong relationships. We choose these talismans ideally through dialogue and co-creation with these allies. So the finding, the making of these particular objects is not just about us as humans, right? So it's very much about finding, creating, being shown to, being guided to something that really aligns with the energy of this being that we're connecting to. They can be crafted, they can be found, they can be repurposed things, they can be, and ideally, kind of a similar size, not too huge, not too small. Like if they're too small, we're going to lose them. If they're too big, they're going to be too heavy and bulky to carry around while we're dancing. So we're sort of holding a certain kind of size idea. And, like I will leave that to you to all sort of feel into, but just keep that in mind as you're thinking about this. This bundle's going to expand. We're going to end up with about 10, maybe more, but probably about 10 at the end of this.
I know I already have a rock in mind that's like probably about that big.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's
Well,
that's the only one.
I guess that's, like another form of strength.
Yeah, exactly. Can you hold this up while you are dancing?
Yeah. So then there's the piece around activation, right? So like these items, they are chosen through this relationship, and then they get activated through our full moon dances. They get activated through our movement, through the music, through the sacred space that's created, that we create together, through the land, through the fire. And they are also continually activated as we work with them ongoingly, right? So we have these like high points with the full moons, but it's meant to be an ongoing process where we are continuing to build our connection with these objects. And I'm going to share some ways that I have been and suggesting to work with our bundles and our talismans. And I'd love to hear, and this will be built into our sharing circle, how are you working with them? Like holding them while we journey or meditate, walking with them. I took my whole bundle on a walk in the woods and introduced it to all my favorite trees today. Making the essence. So I made
My friends.
yeah. I made the essence of sundew and used that talisman for making the essence and worked with that very intentionally with the essence making, and then infused the essence into the talisman. Dancing at home, dreaming. So having them under your pillow, wearing it on our bodies, as I was mentioning, like if you need some extra support or you just want to have them close. And it could be the whole bundle, or it could be one specific one that you're feeling a particular day, and just like tuning into that in the morning, like, okay, which talisman wants to come with me today? That's a really nice way to just sort of feel into like who's walking with me today, like who do I want to have with me, and who is like calling to say like I want to be with you today because like something's coming that maybe you need a little extra support or protection. So opening your intuition to sort of being guided to see who wants to be with you. um, yeah, they help us remember who we are in relationship with our larger kinship, right? And this is why one of the names I have is the bundle of belonging. They help us remember that we belong to this larger life. We are not separate as humans, even though our race has done a lot to make us think that we're separate. We actually are not separate. We are nature. We are spirit. We are in relationship. As much as we are able to weave that, we are in relationship with so much around us and within us.
You just have to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can reach for our bundle when we're feeling lost or alone, confused or scared, when we want to connect or feel protected, when we want guidance or wisdom, when we are feeling like we actually need some healing. A lot of these allies have a lot of medicine that they can bring. So the healing is a big part of this as well. Um, it can also be when we want to access our power and our magic as wise and empowered spirit dancers, right? So this is like stepping into like your medicine, stepping into who you are like as a powerful being. And this is not just when we're dancing, this is a life thing. So my hope for you is that this bundle will become a precious part of your life, your medicine, your path, and your purpose. And that it really sort of holds that for you and with you. And I also want to speak to like the other side of this relationship, right? Because this is relationship, there's two sides. And the allies might be wanting to work with you in particular ways that you haven't even thought of yet. Like they might be wanting to send you messages through these talismans. They might be wanting to send them through your dreams. And, you know, we've already been working with through the dance. Um, you might find that at one point or another, you pick up this object and you can actually feel them in it. Like they might actually sit inside this object, sit inside the talisman, and like actually work inside of that space while it's through this third dimension, but beyond. And this might happen on their own desire, or it might be that you can invite them, you know, like I'm wearing this thing today and I invite you to like walk with me and be with this, be with me through this talisman. So the talisman can be a bridge so that you can stay connected, so you can play, you can co-create, you can learn and grow and enjoy connection. And really this is a two-way exchange, right? We get to give back because they're giving us so much by just choosing to be in relationship with us. They give us so much. And so remember that we need to give as much as we can get, and to, you know, we can give love, we can give blessings and gratitude, we can give offerings, we can give them energy, and we can also ask them, you know, what is it that you want, what's going to nourish your spirit. And be open to what comes through that. It might not be what you expect.
Yeah, I find that working with these allies and working with, you know, the bundle and talismans or any of those, whatever label we want to place on it, it's as important in my practice, my daily practice, as conscious breath work. It's something that I'm actively making a choice to integrate into the way that I'm choosing to interact with my reality, with my world, where I could just do, you know, breath work, or I could just do grounding, all of those things. But then I find that when I open up my periphery a little bit, like the gifts that come through are just so much more beautiful. It's like pausing and seeing a rainbow in the sky, or you know, like a beautiful cloud formation, or seeing a face in a tree, or a stone that like you're just walking and it glows, you know, and it might just be an ordinary looking stone to everyone else, but it's something that like pulls or draws you. And I feel like for me, that's just another layer of connecting with my choice of reality.
mm,
So
yeah.
integration, like,
Mm, yeah. So um that here endeth the download of the details of this particular lesson. There will be a written component that comes along in your course page to sort of deepen this process and just review the notes. And I'm realizing I didn't do that opening energy work with y'all. I just jumped right in.
yeah, it's,
um,
it's the flow of the day.
Yeah, so funny. So I was thinking maybe I'll save that till right before. Does it work for you, Annette, if I just like do a little bit of that energy work right before you ground us out at the end?
For sure. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we'll save
Like
a
a little
little
bit
bit.
of lifting.
Yeah, we'll save a little
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
of time just to do that. But yeah, I want us to get into a little bit of sharing now. And yeah, so just coming back to some of the questions that I asked through this, and I'm going to say them again, and you can note them if you've got paper, or you can just ponder them, contemplate until it's your time to speak. Um, and of course, you can answer one or more of these questions. Um, I'd love to hear how it's going, like in a general sense, like how is this process landing for you? What's really lighting you up, and what do you maybe want more of or less of? So just like a general kind of like, how's it going? Um, I also just want to touch back in on if there's anything else that needs to be spoken about that whole question that came up, or the whole topic around AI. If there's anything that hasn't been spoken that still feels like it needs to be spoken about that, I want you to have space here for that.
Absolutely.
And then the other one is just like, how are you working with your talismans so far? Like what of these, or some of the things we've suggested, but maybe something that we haven't suggested that you've discovered works really well for you. Yeah, so those are the prompts that you can choose from. And there are 5 of us. And I think if we end ourselves by like, yeah, 8:25. Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
we each have like just about 5 minutes,
Yep.
which is what I was hoping for. This is great. So let's all just take a breath, because we're moving from this headspace of like learning and like thinking about things into dropping into our bodies and our hearts and our experience as dancers with spirit, dropping into our connection with these beautiful objects, these talismans, and the beings that they represent. And just taking a breath to feel into what's alive with all of that. What's alive in your system? What's alive in your process right now as a spirit dancer? What's singing to you? And so we're going to open up our circle of sharing. And Annette, if you're willing to do the timing.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'll do this. Um, at, that means you have a minute left
Great.
if you're watching.
And if you're not watching, we might make a sound.
Exactly. There will be some verbal prompt.
Anybody feel ready to jump right in with it?
I can always jump in if no one's wanting to jump in. How's the process going for me? I love this process. My talisman is part of my body. It's like a wedding ring if I were still married, which I'm not, but now I'm kind of married again. And I'm kind of married to myself, actually. That's kind of how it's gone for me. Um, I haven't really shared a whole lot. It's my personal life. Don't know how much I want to share because it's like this is not a therapy session, but my life is pretty rich at the moment, and I'm pretty much the only one in it. It's quite manageable that way. And as long as I have this self-love for myself and my talisman, my connection with my counsel has become really important. My relationship uh, with my counsel has become really important. So it's with me all the time, and I get a little bit nervous, when I don't feel it in my pocket. It's like, oh fuck, where is it? And then I got to go find it. So that's how that's going for me. Ecstatic dance was quite remarkable. It was difficult for me to feel like part of it in the beginning. So I don't know. I've been in a pretty serious space. Like I've got this urgency around me because I just don't know when leukemia will kick up and I'll start having symptoms and shit. So I feel this sense of urgency. And I've been doing a lot, legacy type work. In the beginning, I was talking about, wanting to teach people how to walk and move their bodies and be embodied and so forth. And I didn't know how I was going to do that. Well, we have Onion River Community Action or Onion River Community Access, which is a nonprofit that offers video production and editing for free for community members who have good stuff to talk about, good stuff to share. And so I applied and I'm going on. I have 4 hours of 4 cameras of video. I'm gonna have 4 cameras pointing at me and a client, and we're just gonna have a class and we're gonna talk about stuff. And so lots of things are happening for me in a good way. As far as what else, I'd like to see for what else I would like, I don't know. More dowsing would be great. More dowsing would be great. And right, so how I'm working with a talisman, I kind of went into how I'm working with a talisman. I feel really supported, and I have a moose for my guardian, and I have a purple woman for the fairy, and she's my connection to the magic realm. Um, she's the one who listens to what it is that I want to have happen in my life, and she opens the doors for me. And then Sunflower is my plant ally, and she is also a focus person for me because sunflowers always focus on the sun, and I need some help focusing because I have a lot of directions. But that's so I call on. I have little nicknames. Moose is Moo, and Linda is is my fairy uh, ally, and she's Lynn, and then Sunny is a sunflower, and so Sunny. So Moolin's son is when I really need some help, and I need to get like some help. I call in Moolin's son, or I just call in Lynn's son or Moo's son. Usually, my guardian guide is like he's like right in there, but it's fun to call in Moolin's son and feel like someone's got my back. And that's what a partnership is for me in a relationship,
Start to wrap up your thoughts.
is for someone to have my back and for me to have someone's back. And so to have that in my pocket without it relying on a person, that's powerful for me because I've got all the happiness and all the joy and all the self-love right here. And it's available 24/7. If I acknowledge it, or if I see it, or if I let it happen. So thanks for the space.
Thank you, Eric. Who would like to go next? Anybody feeling the pull?
Okay, then I will. Um, so yeah, I have my little bundle laid out in front of me, and it's it moves around. You know, sometimes it's on the altar, sometimes it's under the pillow, sometimes it's like right in my hand. Sometimes I'm just working with one. I've been working a lot with this plant one this month, and putting it in the boob pocket. It fits nicely in there. and yeah, so I've been thoroughly enjoying my own process with all of this, and really have been diving deep into all of it with you. um, Making the essence of sundew was really special. I've been actually clearing because it's it is a at-risk plant, and I am very lucky to have a little patch down by the pond because it's pretty rare. um, I'm learning about what it wants so that it can spread. And what it wants is like less competition with all the other plants and more sun. And so I've been weeding it every day, not every day, but like a couple times a week. I go down there and I weed it. And I notice like the ones that are in the shade are kind of green. And then when they get sun, they turn red and they get big. And I'm just like seeing it starting to spread. And so it's making me really happy. Like I feel like I'm helping it spread into this particular, just right by the edge of the water. So I made the essence with the water from the pond, and there seems to be a connection with porcupine. Because when I was sitting with sundew, out comes this little porcupine, comes walking over to me, like literally just walks right toward me, and didn't see me until I said, "Hello, porcupine." And he's like, "Hmm?" And so I'm looking at sundew and how it has all these little red spikes off of its little spatula leaves. And I'm thinking, oh, spikes, spikes. You've both got spikes. um, and sundew is all about like drawing toward myself, drawing, like becoming irresistible to that which I want by being like sundew gets very sticky. You know, it's got all these beautiful little clear balls of sticky substance that glow in the morning sun. And it's just like these little jewels. And it's just like this really passive space of like, I've done the thing, I've made my little jewels, and now I just sit and I wait, and everything's coming in. You know, as I need it, when I want it, I will be nourished. The little buggies will get stuck and I'll eat them right up. and Yeah, so I feel like that's part of the medicine that this plant is teaching me about. And it's very similar, interestingly, with spider medicine. Like they build the web and then they just sit and they wait. They know it's coming. So yeah, I love that. I love that energy. And yeah, I loved being with you all at the full moon for the opening and closing, especially. I wasn't able to be with you for the closing, but to see and feel you doing that unwinding of the circle, like I just had like goosebumpy feeling of like how powerful and beautiful that was to be able to witness it. And so I just want to say that like it had an impact on me being able to like have just like that stepped back experience of being in the container that was being unwound, and then at the beginning, of course, winding it with you. So yeah, just like really appreciating the energy you're all bringing to this. And yeah, just thank you. And I love this journey with you.
I can go next. Um, so for me, this is I've been on my own journey for years and years, well, practically my whole life, doing different things. So it's a big adjustment for me to follow someone else's recipe, really. So it's doing it this way is great because it's opening up a lot of doors, but it feels a little unfamiliar compared to how I've done things just on my own, which is great. Um, I so so I'm trying to figure out I'm in using my pendulum to communicate with my gar gateway guardians, right? Is that what they are? Right. Like I can't remember who's what. Like I know, oh, the oak tree is plant. That's obvious, but I don't remember the name for my gateway guardian, right? Um, so I'm trying to figure out how I don't really I'm discovering what I need for a talisman for them. I'm also behind because I started late. Um, but I feel like it's kind of okay. I can't I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself. I'm just doing what I can. And it feels good. I like it. Um, yeah, it's just a very different process of doing things now, a way of doing things that I'm learning a little differently and expanding, which is exciting. Yeah, I have a really strong connection to the oak tree, and that's just a solid thing. I have an acorn and a little twig in my pocket every day from the tree, which I love. I also have pocket stones that I carry for different things, and I that changes off and on. I also have my amethyst and my moonstone that I wear every day. Um, so yeah, I feel like that's good, and it's part of the other thing for me in doing this is that it's squeezing me a little bit out of my comfort zone, which is good, um, even though it's not always comfortable. So yeah, so that's good. I like that. And I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself. I'm just kind of going, discovering and seeing what I can do. Um, and I feel into things more than I see things, and I have to often sit with things for a really long time before they make sense to me. But I feel like to use the word excitement feels wrong, but it's also not wrong. I don't know if that makes sense, right? It feels simultaneously too big and not big enough for the experience. So that's good. And as I shared with Fern and Annette before the others popped on, this has been a really hectic week for me because my mom, who's 82, broke her hip, and so I've been unable to really focus on this for like 6 days, and that's okay. I'll do things, but it's yeah. So it's been good, and I really like coming to the dances and being there in person. That I really like that part. So, and I've been working with my guides for years and years, and so I'm thinking about that a little bit differently. I don't know where exactly it's going to land, but thinking about how could I do this? Is there a better way to do it? And I've been doing it. Yeah. Not that what I was doing is wrong, but is there a way that makes more sense on their end? I think probably I'm 1,000,000% guilty of only thinking of it from like, well, what works for me, right? Us humans are very arrogant, you know that, right? So just trying to figure out that piece too. Like, right. Because I have a lot that I've accumulated over the years, and I don't have enough time, or I don't have a big enough, like I would have to carry like a backpack full of talisman. So so I'm thinking, do I just pick one thing from each part of that? So I got to figure there's a lot for me to sort out, but I feel good about it. So yeah, thank you.
I am happy to go next.
Yeah, I have no preference. Would you like to go next?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. And I just want to grab this. This is my bearberry plant. And it's also called Knick Knick. And I don't know where or how. Or right now, it's sitting by my bed in the window. And this is the Eastern relation to the Manzanita, which is who came to me for my plant ally. Yeah, and Kinnick is it's medicinal, but it's also connected to the native peoples of I know um Massachusetts and the Northeast. Um and is used in the sacred pipes. Kinnick. Um yeah, and I had just an amazing time dancing with her at the ecstatic dance. And what was really beautiful was I asked her what how what arm movements or what positions, and she told me right away. And as I used that, it was a reaching up. As I used that, um I felt it was my whole body. It was a whole body sensation of being in the dance and dancing with her. And that was amazing. Um, yeah, my talisman's been sitting on my altar and I haven't been doing much with it. And this conversation has got me thinking about, I think I would like to be able to wear it somehow, um, during when I'm at work or just in my muggle life. And but I don't know what that looks like. So I'll have to think about that and see what would work. Um, and thank you, Fern, for mentioning the what you've been sending out when the invites. I don't read a lot of email, and so when I see those emails come through, I say, "Oh, that's where I'm going to find the Zoom link." That's great. That's a good reminder. We got this day, but I don't open them. So I'll think I'll work on that. I'll see it and go, oh, I really should, you know, maybe I really should want to consider marking yes, no, or maybe. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to, I think we're getting together on Saturday, or is it Sunday? Saturday. Okay, great. And at Dreamland. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Owen.
Okay, I guess it's my turn. All right, I'll hit the button. I'll keep track. Um, Bundle. Every time I bring it back home, I open it and I create a nest. I like nests. Um, my bed's a little bit of a nest, you know. I have them on I have several altars. I don't know, there's something about a nest that feels contained and that I can put things into, like to manifest. So it sits on a nest. And then I was helping out a friend this weekend, and I'm walking up a hill, and it's a place that I know I've known well. And I look down and there's like quartz crystal everywhere. And it makes me think of how my guardian stone came to me, which is a piece of serpentine. And I had done ceremony on land at my house. And then when I was walking to the mailbox, we had just graded the road and it was randomly there. And it's a very prominent piece. And I'm like, remember that when I tend and connect with the land, when I slow down enough in my life, because my life moves fast, and I take that time to do those things that I'm like, oh, I put that thing in place. I have my fairy spaces, in the backyard, and like, create all the things. But then sometimes I don't think I forget about it, but like I don't tend it as often as I feel would be beneficial for both of us. Like that communication thing I was, thinking about. And so looking down and seeing that piece, and I had been helping to work the land. I had been helping in their garden, right? Like foundational work. And so it was like seeing that, it was just something clicked like in the side of my head, right? Because I'm also walking up a quite an incline of a hill, and I'm mostly working on breathing. And then I'm driving home and I get down the mountain, and I'm getting to the end of the road, and a little a a little squirrel just made a noise out there, but it's a little beaver comes out, right? I mean, it's a pretty good size. And I'm like, is that a beaver? Like, it's a little random. I mean, I live near woods, but not beaver woods. And then I go on to the main drag, and out of like where there's this little farm grass area, a baby beaver, like a smaller one comes out. And I'm like, what do thinking about like what do beavers do? And I was thinking about my bundle. I'm like, all of these things, like these animals, like what do they like? What I'm like, oh, I'm building another foundation. And then I'm like relating that to my life, which right now I feel is moving very fast. And so that reminder that like tending to the earth is super important for me. Like I'm getting reminded of those things to tend. So when I tend to the earth, I tend to myself. And I help others tend to their land, I'm helping also to build foundation. And so then, my brain starts clicking because my brain's always making connection, but usually in like, Reiki terms or what I'm teaching, which isn't about, beavers or quartz crystal or fairies or serpentine. I mean, sometimes, but, not specifically. And so I was like, yeah. So when I got home, I like, touched my serpentine, and it was really beautiful. And then I have to say that I feel so honored. I mean, I fire tended for ecstatic dance before, and it was just such an honor to tend it with you all, because it's a very different feeling. Because I go like back then, which a year ago, right? I would be the one setting the intention for the fire, like I was going with energetically feeling. I wasn't like trying to impose energy onto it, but it's very different. And now this collective feeling is so cool because we're all intentionally thinking about the same thing. And so then the fire I've never put a piece of wood in the center of a fire pit, but like it was yelling in my head. And usually if I get that indication, I do it. Right. So I'm like, oh, what would happen if we just pop that right in the middle and then like stacked everything around it. And it was just so cool because at the end, the pieces showed me they wanted to fall like a medicine wheel. They wanted to fall in directionals. And I was like, whoa. So it was just really cool to see how our collective energy, whoa, that's my time. Our collective energy wove to create, like, because I can only relate to the fire because that's what I'm dancing with. And so it was just, yeah. So I'm all of our energy is super cool. Like I'm digging it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a very beautiful fire and a beautiful altar too.
Oh my goodness, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
those lilacs.
That
Oh, every
intention.
time I would dance by the lilacs, oh,
Bell.
so good. I'm so sad the lilacs are done. It's just like it's such a short window, but gotta soak
Yeah.
it while we can. All right, everybody. I would like you to have your talismans nearby. We're going to do a little bit of energy work. So you want to stand. You know what we're doing. It's what we always do, but I want to add a little piece with the actual the talisman bundles with us. Oh, it's good to stand and stretch a little.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to start with that ascending circuit of our torus field using our breath and our movement. And we're just, when you're feeling that with your next inhalation, you can just start by bringing, I like to bend my knees a little. My feet are a little wider than hip width apart. And I kind of scoop up that energy right down and through and then up through the center with the inhalation all the way to the crown. And then exhale and allow it to fountain out and around you, coming around like a beautiful bubble of light until it hits the earth and hits your roots. And then you bring it back up with the next inhale. So at your own cycle of breath and pacing, start to move this energy through your system, through your center, and all the way around. Inhaling up, exhaling down. And imagine as you're doing this that any places that are a little sort of just like lacking energy, or maybe where there's some dust bunnies or whatever needs to move and clear and open, just bring the energy there, allow it to move it, allow it to sort of just let it filter down and around back into the earth, anything that needs to compost. And if you need more energy, if you're expecting to be up for a while, you can raise up more energy. And when you get your hands back to the top again, we're going to do that real slow drop of the hands with your fingers extended out and open, energetically open, opening your whole field, sensing, noticing what is around you, what is with you. And when your hands drop to your side, you might just come and take your talisman bundle and just hold it for a moment at your center. You just feel it. You don't have to do anything, just feel it. You've just opened your energy body to become more sensitive. So just feel what's here right now in this beautiful little bundle you're creating. And if your hands are really activated like mine are, maybe you're just blessing this bundle with that energy that's moving through your body now. And then when you're ready, putting that bundle down again, unless you want to hold it while it's probably tricky to hold it while you're doing this. We're going to do the reverse, so the descending circuit. So I like to start at the top and then start to bring that energy down my central channel with the exhale, and then bringing it around and up with the inhale. We'll do 2 more cycles of the descending circuit at your own pace, breathing, moving, feeling the energy circulating in this opposite direction now. And again, when your hands get to the bottom of your circuit, you can very slowly raise them with fingers stretched wide, sensing the entire field of awareness that you take up in space. Feeling yourself awake, activated, open, sensing and feeling what is here, what is in you, and what is around you. Bring your hands all the way up to the top again. You might grab your little bundle of belonging and just hold it again, and just again feeling what's here, feeling what's in your own system, feeling what's here in your bundle. Maybe sharing a little blessing. And then we're gonna ground ourselves out with a net.
Yeah, so we're in such a beautiful place. Thank you, Fern. I feel very relaxed.
Mm.
All right. So as we move from standing to sitting, let's just start to bring our awareness to our body. As you begin to feel the ground beneath you, feeling the place where your body is supported, your feet, your seat, your bones, your breath. Take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. Let anything that is not yours begin to soften away from your field. Any energy, emotion, story, or sensation that you no longer need to carry may gently return to its rightful place. Imagine your energy gathering back home to you. The energy from the room, from the circle, from the movement, from the unseen places you may have traveled. Call yourself back with kindness. Call yourself back with steadiness. Call yourself back with love. Now imagine roots extending from your body down into the earth. They do not need to push or be forced. They simply remember where home is. As they reach down and down and down, further into the earth. Feel the earth beneath you receiving, holding, and steadying you. If you'd like, place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, or wherever in your body that feels supportive. Quietly say to yourself, I am here. I am grounded. I am whole. I return to myself with love. I carry forward only what is mine to carry. Take one more deep breath in and release. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Soft gaze, nice and gentle, nice and slow, nice and embodied.
Thank you, Annette. Yeah, so we have our dark moon coming up on Saturday, and I was just checking the weather. It's looking warm and sunny, and so we might be able to have our circle outside around the fire, which would be so lovely. So yeah, we'll get to see you very soon. What is that? So today's Wednesday. Yeah, like 3 days. We'll see you here. Bring your bundles. And other than that, yeah, I think